Our next guest is a Southern person living in Chicago. Her poems appear in Anthology of Chicago and in the self-published chapbooks No Experiences, Instax, Winter, and Nichols. Her poetry criticism appears on the Volta blog. She was a finalist for the 2014 Gwendolyn Brooks Open Mic Award and one of New City's Best Emerging Poets in Chicago in 2014. She's also read poems and essays at Misspoken, Story Club Southside, and the Private Reading Series, among others. Please welcome to Tuesday Funk, Erin Watson.
Hey. Thank you so much, Eden and Andrew, and thank you to everybody who read before the break and completely owned it, and thank you to all of you for not leaving, because so much. So I was telling some people this is going to be basically the cotton candy of literature after the first half of the show. I'm going to open with a few poems and then read a short essay. I'm going to start with the longest poem, which is a very sincere poem about love and 1990s American popular culture. It's a poem in 3 parts. Each part has a title, which is in caps lock, which you will be able to tell when it's the title, because I'll do my caps lock voice. The title of the poem is also in caps lock. The title of the poem is, "This is a love poem about no fear t-shirts." Y'all don't have to applaud, it's cool. All right. As Ronald Reagan once said, it's no fear in America. Remember when you were young and I was younger and there were roller rinks and pinball tables lining the streets? Let's strap ourselves into skates and roll backwards. Let's roll in circles until we get graceful and go somewhere. Let's bring home a live rabbit we catch in the claw machine game. Let's laugh at each other's teeth turning purple in blacklight. Like we didn't know that would happen. Like we didn't know we had teeth. Let's bake a cake shaped just like Mount Rushmore, but the eyes are the eyes of the No Fear logo. Rabbits were born to accuse with their impassable red irises, but let's not think of that. We have work to be done. Let's act out the little red hen. Let's grow the wheat and mill and thresh and sift it. Let's carve an oven inside a stone-stolen head. That banal landscape I saw outside Keystone, South Dakota isn't ours. Let's shape the batter between stones, each with one hand unclean. Let's give it hackberries for eyes, squinting in shock that the sun rose. Let's gnaw and spit them and grow some foliage and get forgiven. Let's build a house out of No Fear t-shirts. Identical to this house in every other way. Let's buy them up, stains, mildew, dried up spiders, and all in bundles at the Pentecostal thrift where they sell by the pound. Let's stack them all in brick-like bags out on the backyard concrete. Let's leave the dark-lined rage eyes facing out to menace anyone who would dare to cross these ideas we live in, our only world, this absurd world. Let's swaddle our rabbit in the wall, bundled in that trademarked mantra, no fear, no fear, no fear, until we sleep under the stars and it runs far. Okay, the rest of the I've never read that out loud before. No, that's a lie. I've read it to my husband. But I just wrote that in April when I was trying to do a poem a day. That's approximately the only one I liked. The rest of these poems have been around for a while longer. The next 2 ones I'm going to read are from a series of teen persona poems I've been doing about 2 youths and the band that they start because they're friends, and that's what you do when you're youths and you're friends. So their band is called Splinters, which is not actually relevant, but this poem is called Truant Disciple. In Waffle House, you talk about your desperation. We stick our skin into the vinyl booth. I look away from windows, following your eyes. We're runaways now, but part-time, and you want something more than skipping health class, more destruction, more loudness. Burn everything, break free. I want to make the book of our future lives, and so I start to write down things you say and catch your voice in spiral binding, but it fades into wrong, undone outside you. It splinters into pieces. I draw a neat column and write 10 times, we hate this. We have sworn a pact to hate this broken place. We are very over it. 2 underlines you make here, ashing out. Coffee pools and saucers, we read fortunes in its grounds. I'll lose that notebook later, I'll forget what it was that felt so right to rage against. This is another poem from the same. Y'all really don't have to clap for me, it's okay. I do this for free. So this is another poem from the teens. It is from North Carolina, and so am I. This poem is called I40 Outside Asheville. When I was a place outside a place, a suburb of alive, you were my freeway's sidekick, picking out exits for chemical treats. I knew I could drive all night, but couldn't cross this road, this river. I couldn't lose this time, this other. Can't. Trucker speed and parliaments, pink snowball puffs and flame red chips. Forget that we were anywhere. You were whole histories of questions. You were writing the index of scars. You were telling the songs to my lungs. Rip off the you in you and be instead the dawn across the gravel. So that's the last one of those Splinters poems. All right. Try to be graceful about that. So I'm going to read the only sonnet I've ever written, which is about a classic sonnet topic, king, spa, and sauna. Y'all know about the magic of the king spa. I was there on Friday, it ruled. This is a sonnet called The New Year at King Spa. Last time I came here, I didn't wear these rings. In the fire room, the pyramid, the noisy, wet quickness of these bodies, thick, elastic things, curled, embarrassed shapes, unlearning certain threats. Pulses thrum, a sweaty spine leads my head's balloon through fractals of forgetting. What was I before conducting this experiment of growing up so soon? Some girls knot tight and whisper by the door. Returned to the triumphant cold, some skin subtracted, objects through the windshield froth with strangeness. I sink into my smallest self. Red lights refracted, soft 80s synth pop soundtrack, gliding, ageless. These rigid structures I keep myself cupped under. Sometimes they stumble open to release the wonder. So that's it for poems. So now I'm going to read a really short essay that I wrote for an internet community called Uncommon for their monthly newsletter email. It's about work. If y'all want to hear about what I do or about the landscape of affordable housing and homeless services in Chicago, hit me up. This is a story of 7 doors. 7 doors separated my desk and the bathroom in the office where I used to work. They were tall and heavy, and I constantly forgot which way to handle the handles because they looked identical from either side. So I'd push where I needed to pull, putting my whole body against the door, like trying to knock through an immovable wall. Some days this seemed like a metaphor for how stuck I felt after 7 years working in the same place. Every hour or so, I filled a tall blue cup with cold water and drank it at my desk, So every hour or so I got up to walk to the bathroom. And every time it seemed absurd to have to open 7 heavy doors on the 17th floor of a giant rectangular prism of glass and concrete plopped on a corner of downtown Chicago, just so I could walk back in the same circle and do it again. Every day I tried to compose a poem with 7 doors in it. Gray door, white door, purple door, gray door, brown door, white door. Every poem attempt blended into an incoherent rhythm. I wasn't saying anything terribly true or useful in them. They were poems that said I was bored, also tired, also cynical. It really was okay there. I had just been around too long to see that. I did write a couple angry office poems. Once, when I read them aloud, I announced that they were about how having a job in post-industrial capitalism is a gothic horror. In retrospect, this wasn't my best work. Last September, I quit the job with 7 doors. I get to write for a living now. My new workplace provides supportive housing to women who have experienced homelessness. Above my new office are women's apartments. On the day I was hired, I walked through the upstairs hall on a tour with our CEO, hearing TV or cooking sounds coming faintly from behind the closed apartment doors, greeting people who came out to see who was in the hallway. I'm still learning so much about what this work means and how hard it can be. But I noticed that what looked like a barrier last year now looks like part of a home, like a safe place. A door of your own means you get to choose what's inside and what's outside. You get to put together the room of your life. You choose how it will look, and when you tell the story of what it's like there, it's a story of warmth and compassion, free from boredom.